control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah. Remember, it's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media.
I was wondering who did that. Thanks.
Ain't nothing to it. A baby could do it.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
I'm a human being, god damn it! My life has value! It's time to ask yourself what you believe.
Mass murder, torture, perjury, embezzlement, fraud, deception, treason. These are just a few of your many crimes against humanity. You will not win this war, for you are fighting the very essence of humanity.
We make this judgment affirmatively. It will be an entire nation.
Tonight, I have a very interesting guest for you all. He's a legendary artist whose works have been seen by countless, millions upon millions upon millions of people. In fact, during the 2016 presidential election, the current president held up one of his pieces of art. And not a whole lot of artists out there can say that. Even though they're raking in all of the big bucks, they don't have that kind of widespread influence. Well, because they're not talented. Tonight, yes, I am speaking with Mr. David Dees from Dees.com.
David Dees was arguably one of the most controversial artists today. Rooted in the deep southern states of Mississippi and Louisiana, David was introduced to the world of art by his father, who loved to paint landscapes and Civil War scenes. David attempted art school for a brief while and decided it wasn't for him. He had an affinity for movie poster art, which led him to Hollywood, where he worked as an illustrator for Geffen Records, Hanna-Barbera, and Sesame Street magazine, to name some of his most famous clients. The surreal trauma of 9/11 led David down the rabbit hole with questions of who really controls the world. This epiphany led him to flee Hollywood and move to Sweden. Upon further investigation into 9/11 and the analysis of the Pentagon crash, his lifelong patriotism was shaken. The arrogance, lies, and the murderous criminal facade that the shadow secret government had imposed on the human race became his main focus. This exploration and research armed him with a solid understanding of secret societies, Zionist banking, and the New World Order agenda. This new perspective on his art has him dubbed by others as the Nikola Tesla of political art. Although he said he was inspired by Norman Rockwell. Norman Rockwell shows the light side of America, while David shows the dark side. Generous with his secrets about how he creates his style, he has stated he uses basic Photoshop with lots of fancy layering and airbrushing. The photos found off the net, then cut in pieces, composed together, and smoothed out. David returned to America in 2012. He passed away in the sunny part of Oregon on May 31st, 2020. He loved cats, he loved rabbits, and he loved music.
People like it. Okay, so I'll do
that. It's not time. Make a change. Just sit down, take it easy. You're still young. Not your fault. There's so much you have to go through. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. And I was once like you are now. And I know that it's not easy to be calm when you found something wrong. So take your time, think a lot, Why think of everything you've got? You will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. How can I try to explain? When I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Now there's a way, and I know that I have to go away.
All right, I'm really sad today, you guys. Well, I was sad a few weeks ago, but I wanted to make an announcement on this channel when it happened, but I wanted to give him a proper tribute because he was an amazing artist. And I don't remember the first time I don't remember the first piece of his that I ever saw, but I remember some of them. So this was one. I have one of his books. And I don't know if you can see it. Maybe if I can find a computerized version, I can put it up on the screen. But anyway, I saw this when I was a teacher, and I remember just having this thought of watching the children eat all of this junk food, and they're crazy. And my cousin, who was also a teacher in New York, I was teaching in LA, but she was in New York, and we just got into this conversation one day. We were just talking about, doesn't it seem weird when the children come back from recess or lunch, they're just like, they're wired or something? We were like, yeah. And I remember seeing this. Oh, look at it again, but look at all of the, I mean, the aspartame, all the GMO foods, it's just chemicals, really. It's not even food, none of this stuff, right? Like, and it just rung so true to me. But his style was very interesting too, because it was very true, but also very dramatic. So it like invoked this sense of like humor that was just, you know, it was funny too. It like made you think, but made you laugh at the same time. Like, look at that, right? It's like this TV does fucking suck you in like that. Look at that, right? Especially children. Let me see if I can find a few more. But there's so much information too. It's very informational, you know. It's very. I'm gonna put some more artwork up on the screen that I got. You know, it's funny, right? He has a sense of humor too. The flu vaccine playset, right? Vaccinate your parents. Create autism and 27 diseases. It's so true though, right? And it's just like all these zombie kids that are like all like with like, you know, syringes and stuff. This one was pretty funny too. This one had me rolling. I remember when I first saw this one. Oh my God, it's just like, there's another one I wanted to pick, right? Look at the TV advertising, right? How it just, you know, you're watching TV and it gets you mentally addicted to all these poison foods. I mean, there's a lot of pictures in this book. This is only the first one, but, you know, it was, I remember I saw this one, and I love fish fillet, or fillet of fish. That was my favorite thing to get at McDonald's, was fillet of fish fries. It was so good. And I remember when I just really started getting into GMOs and not, you know, I had stopped eating McDonald's, and I remember I saw the fillet of fish on there, and I was just like, I'm gonna miss fillet of fish. But it's true, MSG, all MSG, if you look on it, right? MSG foods, genetically altered spuds, potatoes, right? True fluoride, you know, water, the gum, the aspartame in the cola, and then the Prozac, and this guy's like crazy overweight, and then the chemtrails are in the sky. I mean, this guy was just a genius. He was able to make stuff informational and funny and thought-provoking. I mean, the American, I've used this, I think, in a couple of my videos, right? The American Murder Association. This is a classic right here, right? And of course, he was probably inspired by this one from They Live, right? I'm looking for the ESA one too, because I remember I saw that one too, and that really resonated with me. I remember when they put those damn machines in, and you know, I was worried about, I think I was overseas when that happened, and I was worried about traveling, and I didn't want to get like, I didn't want to get into the machines, you know. And it's so true. It's like you have a choice, but you don't have a choice. Rather, you can either get molested or radiated. And technically, I guess I choose molestation because, you know, I don't want to like, you know, that the radiation is hard to shake off, I guess, you know, physically. And there's one more I'm just gonna show you. I can't go through the whole book, but yeah. Right, look at that. That's hilarious. Hilarious. Whoop, whoop. The Three Stooges. Obama, McCain, and Hillary. Right? What a mind. What a great mind we lost. You know, he has some coronavirus stuff that I showed, or either, I don't know where this is gonna go in the little documentary I'm piecing together. Either I showed it already or I'm going to show it after this, but I got some great coronavirus pieces that he did. And I think art is very important, you know, to really, it can talk to people on a level that maybe logic can't. And it's also expansive across all like cultures and religions and stuff like that. Because even if you don't speak English, you know, you can look at those pictures and those pictures will resonate with you, especially if you understand what he's talking about. That's a beautiful thing about art and music. He also was an amazing guitarist. Again, music, right? He was an amazing guitarist, and he would go to old folks' homes and he would play music to people. Right? He just loved doing it. He would play like folk music and stuff like that. So it was interesting. I was reading his biography, and I've listened to some of his interviews from other people, and then I talked to my friend, and she was saying he was painfully shy, which you would think that somebody that's that like outward with his art would be so maybe outward in person, but I guess that is the case with a lot of artists. They're very vulnerable and out there with their art, whether it's their expression, whether it's music, whether it's writing, whether it's, you know, art, drawing, whatever. But a lot of times that person they're really shy, and that's their means of expression, you know, like they're not, you know, they're not good at talking a lot, expressing their ideas in a verbal form, so they have to draw it. They have to make songs about it. They have to write about it. So yeah, he had super long hair up until you know, his old age. Last interview I saw, one of the last ones he did, his hair was like super long. I was like, what you using? What kind of, like, give me those hair pills. I need some. But yeah, he just, you know, there are people that you know about and you're like, God, I would like to meet somebody, you know, like that, or I would like to meet that person one day. And I thought there was going to be a day that I was going to get to meet him, and I didn't get that. So that makes me very, very sad. I just hope that he knows how much I appreciate his art. I still use his art. I'm going to use it in my creations. He wanted people to do that. He is, you know, as long as you credit it to him, he didn't like people stealing his art. And, you know, like a lot of people would take his art but like erase his name off it or change some things about the art. He didn't like that. But he knew about the power of art. He knew about the power of, I have this clip of him talking about memes and how that's important, in the war that we're in right now on spirituality, for the fight for humanity. And, you know, he will be very missed, but his art lives on, and his art is a definite, like, beautiful weapon that we have to fight all of this corruption and tyranny and to empower people.
Anybody that can do Photoshop, you can do a meme. If you can just cut photographs together, do it, because it's a tremendous way to communicate ideas. And really, like they say, it is an information war. Let's let everybody know what we think. That's what we do with Photoshop, eh?
Yes.
Will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams mean nothing. How can I try to explain? When I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Now there's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go.
His message to all artists and everyone was to be creative. Be a voice. Find your passion. Never cooperate with the enslavers. Don't eat the poison GMO and MSG foods, or take their toxic pharma drugs. Don't take the chip. Stand up against tyranny. Start a militia. Restore the Constitution. Restore the Republic. David Dees enjoyed 62 years of life on this planet. Yes, guys, check out his art if you do not know who he is, who this man was. And I think a lot of it will resonate with you if you haven't. A lot of you probably do know who he is, but if not, that's okay too. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Peace, truth, and love. Bye-bye.
All the times that I've cried, keeping all the things I knew inside, it's hard, but it's harder to ignore. If they were right, I'd agree, but it's them they know, not me. Now there's a way, and I know that I have